What is going on, you guys? We are back again with another video. Hanging out with the puppies. Fuck. Drop it. Good boy. You ready? Go get it. Holy shit. In today's video, we are going to be installing some Cobb shifter bushings. Because as you guys already probably know, if you watched my last video, we got the engine back in the Subi. So right now, I did some stuff off camera. I just have my rad put in there temporarily. I got a Mishimoto aluminum rad. And off camera, I got my fuse box put back in. I'm gonna buy a different cover because this one's all scratched up. Like you guys already probably know, this car has 200,000 kilometers on it. So a lot of the stuff is old and beat up. So I've had to replace a lot of it. I also got my washer fluid tank in. I got all my harnesses run, but not connected to anything because obviously there's nothing in it right now. And I got one quarter panel temporarily set on there and one headlight, just so I could kind of remember where the wiring goes. Because I don't know if you guys have had a project car for an extended period of time, you kind of forget where stuff goes. So that's why I didn't film that stuff, because I was just kind of figuring it out as I went kind of thing. So before we get to this install, let's get the shifter bushings out of the box and let's see what comes with them. Get them out of the box. All right, there's one. This is one that mounts to the body, I believe. Yes, sir. Got some stickers. Oh, 2 new bolts. Don't gotta put the rusty old ones back in there. And some grease for the bushing. Next box. All right. Here's the bushing that goes to the transmission. So much stiffer than the factory one. This is gonna feel way better. Oh yeah, this goes in one side and then the other one goes on. We'll figure that out later. 2 more stickers. What am I gonna do with all these stickers? Some more lube. All right, so that's everything we got in the box. Both bushings here. All the Cobb stickers you could ever need. I probably have like 15 Cobb stickers already because of this absolute mess of parts that I got going on here. All right, just so that you guys kind of sort of understand what I got going on here. As you can see, there is not a single mount on this transmission whatsoever. It's just straight transmission hooked up to the engine up there, and it's being held up by the front engine mount. And right now, I don't know if I made a mistake by doing this, but as you can see up here, I have all my shifter linkage already installed with the boot and stuff like that up top. I don't know if I made a mistake by doing that or not, but we're gonna try and get it in together the way it is now. So right now, with the way everything's sitting, if I try and pull this shift linkage into place, it actually does not reach the brackets. And with the way I'm doing this, since I have all that installed already, I might have to do this in stages while I'm lifting the tranny up or down to get this on without having to take all this out again. So I'm just gonna get a bottle jack under here and jack up the transmission to the point where I can hook up all the linkage, and then I'll get the transmission mounts and everything like that bolted up. Okay, this has got to be up there in like the top 10 worst decisions I've made in my life. Like I said before about having this part for 3 months, I forget little things like this. And this is probably why they want you to remove all that linkage first. But on your shifter bushings, you have this little pivot piece here. And on that pivot, I already have it bolted up to the linkage that goes to your shifter. So all I had to do was slide this piece into the selector shaft mount on the transmission. And I slid it on there. And I totally forgot, but if you guys watch my transmission removal video, you would remember that this bolt, when you slide it out, hits the body of the car and you can't get it out. So I got it in now, thankfully. All I had to do was I took a big pry bar and then I stuck the pry bar between the body of the car and that bolt on the transmission there. And I was able to pry it and move the transmission over enough to get that bolt in. So next thing I got to do is get this nut on the backside of that linkage and then get my bushing in the linkage right here. All right, so this is the first bushing we're going to put in on that front bracket there. First thing I'm going to do is there's a rod that goes through the middle. I'm just going to split them apart and we're just going to grease up the bushing with the grease they provided you in the pack. It seems like it's just like kind of like a silicone grease type of thing. I'm gonna lube up the inside of it, spread that grease around there, and even put it on the inside too if you want. Only put grease on the areas that are gonna be sealed. Now I can take this side that I've greased up and we are going to slide it into the linkage up here on one side. Just like that. Now we can take our other bushing and grease it up the same way. Spread it around there, get her nice and lubed up. Then once you get this bushing all greased, you can shove this one in the other side. Now that both the bushings in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of lube on this pin just to help it slide in. I don't know if you're supposed to or not. Honestly, I haven't even looked at Cobb's instructions. I'm just doing this because it seems like a pretty straightforward install. Now I'm gonna shove this pin into the bushing just to hold both bushings together. Oh yeah, right in the hole, just like that. I should not have said that on camera. Okay, so now we got both bushings installed into the linkage here with the pin in the middle. Now this linkage is just gonna slide into this bracket on the back of the transmission here. Yours won't be painted black like that. I painted mine just because it was all rusty and looked like shit. So I made it look a little bit nicer. Just like my shifter linkage, this will all be silver for you guys, but I painted mine black. Now we're just gonna angle this and slide her into place onto that bracket. There we go. Now you're gonna have one long bolt that goes in from this side, and son of a bitch. Oh, this is what I mean by I forget stuff. Oh, this one hits the frame too. I'll get the pry bar out again. All right, so I ended up getting that bolt in. I didn't have to pry anything. I just had to pull down on the linkage quite a bit because I didn't notice. I don't know if you can see, the lighting's pretty shitty. There's actually a slot in the bottom here. So I just slid the bolt into the bushing, pulled down on this, and then the bolt slid right up into that hole. And then I threaded it into the nut on the backside. Now I don't have that one completely tight yet because we still got to get this back bushing in here. So with this back bushing, you got your two new bolts here. I'm going to set these to the side for now. Again, you're going to take your lube here and you're just going to put it in that hole in the center of the bushing that slides into your linkage. Just squirt her in there. Oh, I put a lot. That's probably too much. This thing better not squeak no more. I used to have the gnarliest shifter squeak. It was so annoying. Every time you shift, it just goes like, everyone asks you why your car's a piece of shit. I mean, my car's still a piece of shit, but maybe it won't squeak anymore. Now, my pinky doesn't fit in the front side, but it fits in the back side. So I just spread the lube around in there. Oh my God, that's fucking disgusting. Oh, that should not go on YouTube. Okay, now that the lube's all spread around in there, let's get this thing bolted up. So this one's gonna be pretty hard to film, but I'm gonna try my best here. Mosquito. Look right in my mouth. Oh, that was fucking disgusting. Okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to squeeze this in here, and I don't even really remember which way this goes. Cobb side down or upside down? They probably put the name there like that for a reason. I'm gonna try and pull this down and get this back piece into the bushing first. Slide it on just like that. Oh, it squirted right out the other side. This is the most sexual bushing install video you will ever see, and I apologize. Now that it's in there, we can get our two new bolts, get them threaded into the two mounting locations here. Oh man, I gotta pull this around all over the place. I don't know if it's better or worse that I'm doing this with the transmission mounts off, but seems like it's going out pretty well so far. The two bolts they give you are just two 14 mils, I think. 14 mils working, so we're gonna say yeah. Maybe they're 13s, I don't know. Unless it's a 12. No, I think it's a 13, but I'm not walking all the way back to the toolbox to get one. So we're gonna keep using this 14. Oh, it's totally a 13. All right, so there we go. I got all the shifter bushings installed. This front one I tightened up. I didn't torque them or anything. I don't know what the torque is. I just hand torqued it with a wrench. I tightened up those top bolts for that little knuckle there. And I tightened up the two bolts that hold this rear bushing in there. Now everything's installed nice and solid. All I gotta do is run this cable to where it mounts up there. And we are back at it again with not putting things in right the first time. The little bracket for that reverse lockout cable. Yeah, that mounts on the bolt for the front shifter bushing. So, shit. Just to show you guys what I'm talking about here, it's this bracket that mounts this reverse lockout cable. That bolt just goes through it, so it mounts it securely to the bushing there. So put that bracket on the bolt before you putting it in and tighten it up like I did. Another thing with this reverse lockout cable is don't forget to put the pin in that holds it in. So now that we got all the bushings installed, I know the transmission mounts aren't in, but I'm gonna go up there and see how this feels. Oh my God, I wanna drive this car. All right, so let's see how this feels. Oh, that's like, is that a squeak still? Oh, it's the boot on the bottom that's squeaking. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get away from that. I know you guys are eyeing this up though. Check out this custom snap-on shift knob here. I snapped my screwdriver at work. So I was like, I could either warranty it or I could make a dope shift knob out of it. So I made a dope shift knob. I just drilled a hole in the bottom and then I tapped threads into it and it threaded right on. It actually feels great. It throws really nice. It's nice and small, fits in my hand good. But I am noticing one problem with the way I have this set up right now. First gear's good, second gear's good, third's good. fourth's good, but when I go to throw it into fifth, it locks up and it goes into the reverse lockout section. So on this reverse lockout cable, I actually ended up taking that reverse lockout cable apart when I had it off just to like wire wheel it and clean up all the rust off of it. So I had to dial back the adjustment nuts on it, and I thought I got them back close to where they were before, but clearly I didn't, because right now it seems like this shifter's stuck in reverse lockout because I can get it in reverse like that. But even if I push the reverse lockout down, if I try to go to fifth, it just goes over into the reverse lockout section, and I can still put it in reverse without even pulling that up. So we got to go adjust those nuts. I don't know how many times I'm going to call myself an idiot putting this car back together, but I'm an idiot. Fast forward like 15 minutes here. I got the interior of the car torn apart again. So what ended up happening was, you saw in the clip right before this, I was pulling my reverse lockout and it was actually staying up. It wouldn't bounce back on its own on that spring. I don't know if you guys can see in there. I'm going to try and shine the light the best I can, but if you see that cable right in the middle there, that cable actually hooks up to this little dowel pin that goes through this hole here for the reverse lockout to hold it to the cable. And when I put the shift linkage back together, clearly I forgot to put that pin back in, because that's why the reverse lockout wasn't working. So I put that pin back in, and now before I put everything back together this time, I made sure that it all works. So I can go, there's neutral. I can go through all the gears, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then I pull the reverse lockout up and I got reverse. So I'm glad that's fixed. Another issue that I actually fixed was, you heard me talking about that squeak that I had whenever I was shifting. And if you look down there, right where that linkage hits the boot, when I would shift, that linkage would just rub up against that boot there and it would make a shit ton of squeaking, and it was so annoying. So I just took a bunch of the grease from the Cobb shifter bushings and greased underneath of that shifter rod that's there and got grease all over the boot. And now if you listen to it, it sounds nice and smooth, doesn't make any squeaking noise. So we just killed two birds with one stone there. I fixed two problems. That one was my mistake, the other one was just annoying and I wanted to get rid of it. So we'll see how long that grease lasts. So to put this interior back together, we'll just give it a little bam, it's back together just like that. Fuck, I wish it was that easy all the time. So now I'll just show you guys what it's like up top. These shifter bushings feel amazing, nice and super tight. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, nice and notchy. There's a little bit of play, but not much. Like, it's very minimal compared to the stock bushings. It's nice and tight. There's reverse lockout. Goes in perfectly fine. Just to show you guys the reverse lockout adjustment on the bottom here, this reverse lockout cable has two nuts on either side of the bracket. All you're gonna do to adjust it is you're gonna back off each nut just like this. Back it right off, just so that you guys kind of have a gauge of this. If you have more threads showing on the back side of the cable, it's going to be pulling that linkage more backwards and engaging that lockout more. So what you want to do is you want to have it at a happy medium position. I'm going to leave a little bit of threads at the back here, but I want my reverse lockout to be the least amount of engaged it can until I want to engage it, if that even makes sense. So I'm going to dial it back to about there. I got a couple threads back on the end. All I did was loosen that nut off. Now I'm going to take this front nut here and tighten it all the way up until it seats against the bracket there. And then you can just snug both nuts up on either side. Feels pretty good to me. And then once you're done getting it all adjusted, just make sure that you can go through all the gears, 5, 6 especially, because if you don't adjust it properly, you'll go to go in 5 and it's going to do the same thing it did before. It won't let you in. Mine's good now. 5th and 6th were perfect. Then just make sure you can pull that reverse lockout up and it goes in reverse and it stays in reverse pretty good. You can't just like flick it and it'll fall out. So mine's all good now. It's adjusted perfect, goes through all the gears. And that's honestly probably where I'm gonna end this one. I don't mind making the videos long, but honestly, let's be real here. No one wants to sit there for 15 minutes every video and watch the whole thing, and I guarantee none of you guys do. So I'm gonna try and start making these a little bit shorter if I can. Some stuff that I gotta explain more in depth, obviously I gotta make them longer, but I'm gonna save that transmission mount for another video, just so that then I could get 2 separate videos for the Cobb shifter bushings and for the transmission mount. That way it keeps it nice and short and sweet for you guys. It's funny how I keep talking about this stuff like I have like a whole bunch of people watching this channel, but it's still weird talking to a camera, so I'm getting used to it. So yeah, I'm super happy with how those Cobb shifter bushings feel for right now. Obviously, I'm not gonna know what they feel like 100% until I actually drive the car, if I ever will get this car on the road. Yeah, overall so far, I give them a 10 out of 10. I can already feel it, that it feels way more solid. It's way less sloppy, and I am so happy that that squeak is gone. That was the most annoying thing ever. We'll see how long that grease lasts up. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to help you guys out. I know a lot of people probably aren't installing these shifter bushings this way because they don't have the transmission unbolted, but I'm trying to get this car together and everybody does it in a different way. So even if you are doing it this way, at least it gives you a general understanding of how they go in, and it lets you know that you can do it without taking out all of the shifter linkage from inside the car. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Peace out. I need like a catchphrase or something.